Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking. I'm here to talk to you about this game. It is called Booze Barons. This is by the good people that brought us Good Cop, Bad Cop, Bombers and Traders, one of the best hidden role secret games that I've played in a long, long time. And when Brian Hank, the publisher, contacted me about doing this review and he told me about it, I was really intrigued by it. I love games about the mob. I love games about that Prohibition era type of mobster area, if you will. And this is about like rum runners, about bootleggers that are delivering illegal hooch to several different locations within a city, and they're all vying to become the best mob in the game. Now, this is a game that you can play one person per team, but it is a game that is lots of people can play, and you can have lots of people on teams playing because there are 3 mobs, and you have to divvy up the players through those mobs, and then so you kind of work together with the other people. If you have enough players, you'll have a team where you'll kind of work together. But the interesting thing is that you don't know, at least at the very beginning of the game, who is on your team. So let me explain exactly how Booze Barons is played, and it's a lot of fun. And then we'll come back here and I'll tell you a little bit more about why I've been digging playing this game with my group. All right, cool. Booze Barons. Alright, this is Booze Barons. I've gone ahead and set it up. To begin the game, you're just going to have to determine how many players you have, obviously. I'm just going to show you how to play the game in its rough mechanism, so I'm not going to go through each setup for the different number of players. But what happens is that each person is going to get one of these cards. It's going to designate the type of booze that they have to collect. Now, you can see that these are in 3 different colors. That's because there are 3 separate mobs that are trying to win the game, and depending on the number of players, you will have teammates, or maybe not, depending. So like if you only play with 3 people, you're just going to have 3 teams. So like each person would have one of each of these colors. But like with a 4-player, there would be one team that has two team members, and so on and so forth. And so what you will do then is that each person will get one of these cards, as I said, and it tells you what type of booze you have to collect for points. And then only that booze can you collect, and that's how you earn points. So each person gets handed one of these cards, and it's dealt to them face down, so they won't be able to see it, and people won't be able to tell what you have as far as either your team, and also as far as what type of booze that you're supposed to collect. Now, that's important to note because you don't know who your teammates are, technically. You might be able to figure that out as you play the game, but presently, at the very beginning of the game, you won't know who technically is on your team. Each person will get one of these decks of cards. They're going to take one of those people. So like if you had this person, and then you would get their pawn, which would be this. This is going to designate where you are in these 6 locations on the map. Each one of these cards is a movement card. The movement has a symbol that tells which location on the board you're going to be moving to. And you'll be placing these face down on your turn so nobody knows exactly. So this is the Officers Club. And so if you wanted to go there, you'll notice that matches up with this symbol right there. You would put that face down in front of you. Notice how there's these 2 coin things on there? That's worth points. You can lose these, and people can earn points by grabbing these cards from you, but regardless. So you put this face down, and then when you reveal it, it tells where you're going. And then you'll head to that location. I should take a moment to describe the different locations. They are CD Pete's, the Officers Club, Casino Regale, Curtain Club, River Caves, and Docks. Now, not only do these have little locations and symbols that tell where they are and how you designate them, but they also have certain powers and abilities that you can use when you're there. So, and I'm going to reference some terminology in the game here with these actions, but so just keep that in mind. I'll explain a little bit. So here's the River Caves. Here's the symbol. It says, you can only be tailed by other players who are also at the River Caves. This event is automatically activated. So in other words, you don't have to take that action to do that. Tailing is an action that you can take after you do your move, and I'll talk about that very shortly. So here we have Casino Regale. Reveal the top 3 cards of the delivery deck. You may choose to keep any number of those delivery cards that match your boost type. Discard any that you do not take. And so then that's just no event. And these do have an A side and a B side, so you can kind of mix that up. And so you can actually, they have different powers and abilities depending on the different sides. And some of them are the same, but you can choose which side of the card that you want to use. To begin the game, you're going to take the top 9 cards of these like delivery cards, and this is the type of booze that they need at those locations. And so like this top one here, it says right here it's the Officer's Club, so we're going to place that on that location. And then they have the 5 different types of booze that they want, and it designates which gang. You'll notice by the colors here. So like, Shakedown Ale, Tommy Gun Rum, Dynamite Gin, Sugar Daddy Sherry, and Flapper's Choice. And so you'd go ahead and place that. And you're going to be placing 9 of these cards down to begin the game here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's go ahead and put those down here. So, and then it is obviously, fairly random. And there will be spots that have more than one, obviously. And so you'll place these out at the beginning of the game. It's important to note that after the first turn, you are going to replenish the spots with these cards. And it looks like even CDP gets one. You're going to replenish those cards. The number of players divided by 2 round up, and you'll draw that many more cards after the first round. All right, so each person is also going to have one of these cards that's going to designate, their color and what have you. The important thing that it gives all the different like actions and stuff that you can do. But on the back, it has this handy thing where it does list off the 3 different mobs and the different types of alcohol that they deliver. All right, so each player will get one of those, and they'll have on their turn. And what's going to happen is they're going to, I turned that upside down by accident, but so if they place the spot they're going to, and they turn it over, they're going to go to those locations. So I'm just going to drop these down. So let's, say you went there and here, and I'm not gonna put all of them down. But anyway, so that's what happens with the different locations, and those people are presently at those spots. Now, on your turn, as according to this little action card here, you can do these. You can deliver. You take one delivery card from your location. You can tail. View the delivery cards of a player at your location, then snitch or steal. You can do the event, which is the action at the spot, or you can just pass and do nothing. Now, if you decide you're going to take, so like if you're this yellow player here, and you want to take one of these 2, and let's just say that they were in the red mob, and they had the Gatling whiskey. That was their card, so they had that face down in front of them, like so. So what they would do is they would look at these 2 cards, and they'd see, does either of these match up? Let's see, here's the Gatling whiskey. They can take this card. And so what they do then is they take this card, and the first time they take a card, when they take a card in the turn, they put it face up in front of them so people can actually see the card that they've chosen. Now this is very important because after the turn happens is you flip it over and put it back, and you notice that there is the little symbol for the victory point there, and you turn it over like that. So the information that you get right there is evident, and you can see that right away at that moment. But after the fact, it gets turned over. Now, that doesn't mean you never get to look at it again, but it's important to actually look and see what card the people take, so maybe you can slowly try to figure out exactly what they're trying to grab. And so they turn that over, and so they would choose the card like that, and that's it. That's all you do as far as the delivery goes. Now, here is the thing that gets tricky. When you decide to do the event, you just do the event. And I'm not going to really worry about that. You just follow the instructions of that particular spot. Passing is pretty simple. Passing is you just don't do anything. But if you decide that you are going to snitch, tail, you have 2 choices. You can either take a card from somebody, one of their delivery cards that they've already claimed. So like, let's say these are the delivery cards that that particular yellow player had. And so they took this one recently with Gatling whiskey. I'm going to see if I get lucky here. I didn't get another Gatling whiskey one, but regardless, who cares? So you have those 2. The player can say, I am going to steal from you. And what they do then is that they can't take this one because you just grabbed that one, or if they have that one face up in front of them, because this is a thing where you have a turn order. The Booze Baron goes first, and then the marker goes to the person on their left. But the person would look at the other two cards that they have and look for a symbol that matches it. So let's say, maybe they were part of the Grey Gang and they were part of the Shakedown Ale. And so then they go ahead and they just choose one of these cards that both work, but they can just, take one of them. And then they take that card and they put it face up in front of them to show that that's the card that they stole. Pretty simple, right? So now the other thing you can do is you can decide to snitch, and that's basically you're turning this person into the cops. And so what happens then is that you look at their cards they have, and you try to see something that matches up. Now let's just, for the sake of an argument, let's just, not that one, let's grab a third one, just so we can actually see. So let's say these are the three cards. And so what happens is the player has to kind of look, and they have to say what three of these things are the same, because they can only take a booze that they've actually earned. And so you have the Hotsy Totsy Port and the Shakedown Ale. So they'd have one of two choices. Now this is actually kind of a poor choice for this player to have all three of these cards, because when you look at them, it's pretty obvious you got a 50-50 shot. You want to try to take cards that have multiple combinations, and try to not let somebody narrow it down so easily. But so the person guesses, let's say they guess it's a Hotsy Totsy Port. Well, and if they're wrong, they can say, no, you're wrong. Well, they're going to know then by possible elimination is this. And so now that player is going to want to probably try to stay away from the other players, because they're going to try to find them and guess what they have, and they're going to be able to take that from them. So what happens then is that if they guess correctly, so let's say it was the Shakedown Ale. I am guessing you are, the Shakedown Ale person. And so then the player would find the card that they had that says Shakedown Ale, and normally it's face down, but they turn it over to show that they are part of the Grey Gang and they're part of the Shakedown Ale. You're not out of the game at that point, but you've been discovered. And the other big thing, and so that was the yellow player here, what happens is that they have to give the player the movement card they use to get to that spot. And so they give the purple player this one, and notice how it has the 2 points. And so that's a pretty powerful thing, and it was worth a lot of points. And because of the fact that you have taken this away from that person can never go to the Officers Club again. They don't have this as an option to go to that spot anymore, which is obviously a very important thing as well. If you are the first person in a 6 players or less game to correctly guess somebody, you get a snitch card, which gives you an extra point to kind of propel that forward. If you're playing with 7 or more players, you actually use 2 snitch cards during the game. So the second person that successfully does it gets the snitch card as well. It's important to note that if you are able to steal one of these movement cards from somebody, that can't then be stolen from you. You don't get to use that card to move around. You use your cards to move around, and somebody can't steal the card that you just stole. So the game continues until there's 2 or less people that have not been discovered. Their secret drink, or their secret ale or booze or whatever it is that they deliver has not been discovered. At that point, the game ends. And then the gang that has earned the most points by collecting the most deliveries or discovering the most people will then win the game. That mob then is in charge of the town. This is a fantastic game because of the fact that you don't know who your teammates are, but through a process of elimination, you will figure that out slowly but surely. And you got to make sure that you never actually accidentally discover somebody else. Even though you could probably figure out somebody on your own team is a bad guy, you would actually lose points for that. You can't determine, if you're both on the red mob, you can't, the guy, the Gatling whiskey guy can't figure out who the Tommy Gun rum guy is to get 2 points. It doesn't work that way. You actually lose 2 points if you do that. So that's a big no-no, so don't do that. But all right, well, this game is fantastic just because of the bouncing around movement and the hidden decisions, and plus the fact that you're just always trying to hide it from each other. And I love it for those reasons. But let me go more into that in my conclusion. Booze Booze Barons! Alright, cool, there we go. So, as I said, this game is a heck of a lot of fun. Mostly, I think one of the best parts about this game, obviously, are the hidden roles and the fact that you don't know exactly who's on your team. The very beginning of the game is definitely feeling each other out, watching what other people are playing, watching people that are grabbing. But as the game gets played, it kind of opens itself up to you a little bit more, and you start realizing there's all these weird, cool strategies where even though you know, this is one of those where I think you think that I think kind of games, and I really like. I like games of bluffing, but this is a game where after you've played it at least once or twice, you kind of learn what the different gangs are and what have you. You can, if you are like, you know, say like on the blue team, like on the like you're looking, you have Sugar Daddy Sherry, right, and you're looking for like your buddy who is selling Flapper's Choice Brandy or whatever, because like also the other thing is too is since these are randomly distributed, say you have 6 players, so there's gonna be 2 people on each team, right? These are going to be randomly distributed. You don't know which 2 boozes are going to be available. Yes, you got the Sugar Daddy Sherry, but you don't know whether they're Wallflower Bubbly, Hotsy Totsy Port, or Flapper's Choice Brandy is the other team on. You don't know which one of those 3 it is. So there's this process of elimination where you're trying to figure that out. But the fact of the matter is that the other players, if they're worth what they're doing, they're not going to be really blatant about showing what it is. And so you're going to have a situation where you might be taking actions that actually are detrimental to your team without realizing it. And they're going to be doing the same thing to you. And so then you're going to want to, like, return in kind, if you will. Like, you know, you jab me in the back, I'm going to jab you in the back. But then you've realized, and there's been several games where we've done this, where we've realized that 2 teammates have been working against each other without realizing it for a great deal of time, you know, stealing cards from each other, in which, you know, technically at the end of the game, it's the mob, you know, earns the money anyway or gets the points anyway. But the fact of the matter is that you're not actually taking the points from somebody else, another gang, and giving it to you. You realize that you've just, you know, wasted several turns of the game, and that's one of those things about the game that you can't script, and you can't you can't accurately experience until you've actually done it, when you realize that, yeah, we spent the last like 20 minutes like bashing each other over the head when we should have been bashing everybody else over the head. Now, I love games with deduction. I love games that, like, I've always loved. I remember playing Clue when I was a young kid, and I remember like always really enjoying, like, you know, figuring out who had what cards and what have you. And I love the deduction portion of this as well. I mean, as far as like, you know, looking at the different cards and like me personally trying to obfuscate what I'm taking. Yes, I have to take this card and realize, you know, the options available to you, but you want to make sure you don't take a card that is going to, you know, give yourself away the next time somebody picks up your cards and looks at it. It's like, oh, well, obviously, you know, you're delivering, you know, Gatling whiskey because that's the only one that matches up on all of these cards. You don't want to do that. And so there's this wonderful, yes, you want to score points, but you want to score points secretly, if you will. And there is a lot of fun and a lot of difficulty in weighing those things against each other. And just kind of also the whole process of like trying to outguess where somebody you think is going to go. Like if you desperately want to land on somebody so you can, like, you know, snitch on them and figure out what they are to get those points, trying to figure out which spot they're going to go to is difficult because, you know, like, it's another one of those you think that I think that I think that you think type of things. And that's what makes the game a lot of fun. There's a lot of interaction, there's a lot of fun. The fact of the matter is that you are in direct conflict to each other instead of just kind of just doing your own thing and seeing who does the best at doing their own thing. Makes this game a heck of a lot of fun. And if you are a fan of like secret roles and secret teams and stuff like that, this is a game that you need to put on your game shelf. So go ahead and check out Booze Barons. If you have any questions about the game, please ask away. I'll be happy to answer those to the best of my ability. As always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, this was the Undead Viking telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. Alright, bye-bye.